Heather and I first met at a college retreat that I actually was not supposed to be going to originally.
It was actually ironically about dating. And both he and I were in different places in our lives, and he was still in college, and I was new to Fort Collins looking for a new community, and so we went on this church retreat, and I invited him to go hiking with a bunch of friends, and he turned me down.
She invited me to go on a hike with her, and I said I would love to, but we got conflicting stories on whether or not Rocky Mountain National Park was open. I heard it was closed, so we didn't really talk for probably about a good year after that.
Throughout the rest of the conference, we kind of said hi to one another, but nothing really, sparkling or anything fancy. And then, a whole year went by and we were just kind of acquaintances. So we didn't really start talking until about a year after that.
We ended up reconnecting when she posted something on Facebook about a Bible study group for young professionals, young adults, because that was what our church didn't have at the time. So I messaged her back and we started talking again and rekindling that friendship. What happened here? Oh man. I asked her to be my girlfriend for the very first time after we had talked about it all summer, and she said no.
One night he took me over here and was so nervous and decided that he was going to ask me to be his girlfriend. And I think at that point we'd probably been on 3 dates. So I was completely thrown off and not sure if I was ready, and I said sure. And then by the time we walked back to his house, literally across the street, I said, actually, can we hold on a little bit? I'm not quite sure. Let's wait.
She did say she just wanted more time, and it didn't feel right to say yes so quickly. So we then went camping, I believe the following weekend.
So over the course of the weekend, I realized, hey, he's not half bad. So by the end of the camping trip, I said, I think you can ask me to be your girlfriend again.
So I asked her, and she claims to have seen a shooting star at the moment that I asked her, and she said yes. I have no recollection of the shooting star, but I believe that it was there.
Our first date, I think he was going to take me to a different restaurant, and it ended up being closed. So I don't remember what the initial plan was, but he took me to Crazy Carl's Pizza.
Oh gosh, that didn't go very well for me.
But after that, we drove up to Horsetooth Reservoir and looked at the stars, and so he redeemed himself, and that's actually where he kissed me for the first time, so that was a fun memory.
I first told Heather that I loved her.
I think he said it before we were dating. He is one of those guys that, when he knows, he knows.
I don't know, it sounds cliche, but it was one of those I just knew type things. Everybody always says, you'll know when it's the one. Well, I knew.
We'd been dating for about 9 months, and I'd kind of told him how it was going to be.
She had been mentioning that she wants me to propose, but she wants me to do it on my time, yet when she's ready.
Well, my dad had kind of pulled him aside weeks before that and said, so I know that my daughter has a plan. You can't follow it.
Her father pulled me aside, and he was like, I know what your intentions are with my daughter, but word has it that she says you cannot ask for my permission until May. And she had this timeline fabricated in her head, and he wanted it to be a surprise so that I could ask whenever.
So literally the next day, Logan asked for permission.
We went to Macaroni Grill, which is where we had our first official date instead of a pizza joint in Fort Collins.
He was carrying this book with him, and I was like, if that's a gift for me, I should get it now. I had no patience whatsoever, and because I wasn't expecting anything extravagant, just a photo book.
So I went back and I grabbed all the pictures that her and I had ever taken together on our dates that had meaning to them, and I put them in chronological order, and I made this photo book called Our Story.
So we're sitting at Macaroni Grill, and he hands me the book reluctantly.
And she's kind of flipping through it, thinking that I got her this because I messed her birthday gift up, so I was trying to be Mr. Sentimental.
And I go through each page, probably with 30 seconds on each page, just dragging it out. The poor guy was sitting there, sweating and so nervous. And at the end of the book, it said, "Will you do the honor of being my wife?"
She reads it, and the very first words out of her mouth are, "Well, did you ask my parents?"
Was completely caught off guard because it wasn't according to my plan. And I look up, and he's holding the ring. And I said, "Did you ask my dad?"
And I kind of sit there, just holding the ring, kind of shaking, yeah. Of course I asked your parents.
And of course he was not very happy with that response, and then eventually said, "Yes, I did. Now what's your answer?"
And she never said yes. She never actually uttered the words, "Yes, I will marry you." But she did write it in Sharpie that I said yes, and then she wrote May 11th, 2014.
It was actually really cool. I didn't want it to be in a restaurant or a public place or anything, but that book is now something we have, sitting on our dresser, and something we'll always have to remember that moment. So on our wedding day, I hope Logan knows that I love him dearly in everything that he does and everything that we do together. That he is the only man I could ever see myself spending the rest of my life with, and I can't wait to start the journey.
This is totally off the top of my head, so if it doesn't make sense, Heather, bear with me. I love you beyond words. I know I frustrate you a lot, and I know that sometimes you probably just want to strangle me and be like, "What is wrong with you? What are you thinking?" I'm just thinking that I love you and I want you happy, and there's nothing that I would rather have for you than to see you happy. And I apologize for all the times in advance that I'm going to frustrate you in our marriage, because I know it's going to happen. But it's life, and it's love, and love has its ups and downs, but love is also the greatest thing that ever is to be.